Howdy folks, Bad Mark here. Just going to be doing a real quick video here on this board. I really hate to advertise any corporation, so please don't take this as an advertisement, but I had a lot of interest. I do shop on Amazon, unfortunately. I wish I didn't, but it's the way of the world, that sometimes that's just the only place I can get something. I do try to shop locally as much as possible. That being said, I have several different tricks for shopping. I'm a pretty savvy shopper, being that I've been developing commerce systems for 30 years now. I'm very familiar, so I know how to find deals, and I basically keep track, especially since Amazon has they have a couple different departments, but primarily Amazon Warehouse, Amazon Renewed, that has either returns, open box items, or items they've received as trade-in, or they refurbished, whatever, or have bought from the manufacturer already refurbished. So now this kit I had seen around for a while. I have a few acrylic stacked layer kits, and I had seen this DNA, and honestly I like the colors on it. But for what I saw it for, I believe it's listed for $80+ on other sites and international, with shipping. And I was able to find this one for $35, and it was an open box. It only came with I don't even think it had a cable. I know I had a cable. I always have cables around, but I don't think I had a cable. And the box was pretty beat up, but the board seems fine. It's not tightened. Now, I do hear a lot of people state that, oh, I just got this stacked layer acrylic board and it rattles right out of the box. I'm no materials expert, so correct me if I'm wrong, but as far as I understand, these are purposely sent out not fully tightened so that there's no stripping, and because that's the best way to ship it. Now, that's what I've been told. If that's not true, I don't know, but every single acrylic board I've ever received has been like this, stacked. Loose when you receive it. So, I don't know. Now, as far as stabilizers go, these are plate mount stabilizers, and the shorties are actually decent. I mean, they're not moving at all. But when we come to the space bar, there's a little bit of rattle there, so let's see what we can do about that. Let me see, looks like we just need a regular Phillips for this. I'm going to try to avoid getting into the plate for right now. Let's just open her up and see what we got. I should have started with my toolkit. Let me grab that. Alright, so let's see, we do have a bowl here, and we already have some screws in here, but all the ones that come with this DNA are black, so we're going to go ahead and leave you guys on the other edge. I believe I know what you're for, but I don't want to start going and searching for another project at the moment. So, let's go ahead and see. Make sure this is a good size. Yeah, that looks good. Alright, let's take this puppy apart. Yeah, the screw is definitely not tightened. I mean, it was in, but it was not in as far as it could go. So, again, I've always received stacked acrylic boards, not fully tightened. First time I received one, I thought, oh man, something's wrong with it. Because it was, obviously if it's not tightened, when you look at it, profiles, you're going to see, not jagged edges, but, a bunch of edges that just don't match up. And you're like, what? But as long as you basically take the same approach as to when you're attaching a plate to a PCB, stick in a few, switches in, do the same thing with the screws on the acrylic, and then, basically go on the corners, tighten them up, then, start going down into the middle, and don't fully tighten until they're all at least somewhat screwed in. I think that's usually the best. So, now that we've gotten these screws out of the way, can we take this top plate off? Am I missing a screw? Am I got it? Looks like. Oh. Do I have to take that screw? Let me see. What am I missing here? Oh. Oh, okay. So there are screws beneath the feet. Alright. It's kind of odd. Alright. Yeah, that's pretty odd. I guess that's why they put extra feet in the... I think... I don't know, that was from something else. Yeah, I was reading about how they put extra feet, but I didn't get any of that from this, so that's kind of, I don't know, odd. Alright, so let's keep unscrewing these two then. Now I have a whole collection of rubber feet, so that's not what concerns me. It's like, what were you thinking? I mean, I don't know. We'll see. I've read a lot of complaints about this in particular, but there's always things we can do. Like I said, I got this board for $35, so I'm not going to complain too much, unless it doesn't work, and I'll send it back. All right, so we got the first plate off. I like that, and it looks like that plate can be taken off. It's some sort of metal. I would not say it's brass. I think it's made to look like brass. It's probably aluminum if I had to guess, because it's not. It doesn't make this acrylic plate feel much heavier at all. All right, so actually let's go ahead and do it this way so we keep it in order. All right, so now we have one in between layer, and we have the PCB. Hi, PCB. So I really gotta. Because it might be a little dirty. Let's see what this one is. Whoa! Just the light. Alright, so let's bring up the PCB. Alright, this is back of the PCB. Now, personally, this is, I'd say of medium quality. I mean, all the solder joints look fairly clean, but I don't know, it doesn't look very well thought out. And it looks like it's not the cheapest. I've definitely seen cheaper PCBs, but it looks fine. And those are, ooh, I don't know if you guys can zoom into that, but these are actually Gatoron hot swap sockets. Used to seeing Kale, but these are actually Gatoron hot swap sockets. Yeah, I don't know if you guys can actually see it on the bottom there on the left side. Anyway, all right, that's an interesting little tidbit there. So let's go ahead and see. We've got that second or third layer, well, at the bottom, second layer, and we've got a black layer. Now we start to get to full layers, and then there's the actual PCB. Oh, the PCB is just hanging out in there. Huh. All right. I've seen different designs, but so basically it's kind of, well, it's not a gasket mount because, let me keep going this way. Yeah, see, here's another thing for anybody even considering this board. Take a look at it from the profile. I don't know if you can see how far out those LEDs stick. These LEDs, like if I were to take this switch and try to put it in here, see how there's no window? These are the ones that have the 4 little tiny holes you're supposed to put the LED SMD through. Well, if I were to try to put it in here, that LED is going to block it, and it's not going to be able to make a full connection. So the only switches that you're going to be able to use are switches that have a window, usually the clear top ones. See, they have that hole there. Oh, let's go knocking switches down. They have a little window right there, and that's going to allow for this switch to go into the board, and see how the LED is actually almost, you know, inside of there, so it glows through. So that's another thing to consider. That's not a big issue for me, as I have plenty of switches that I can use that don't require that. So anyway, that's the PCB, and now I forgot which way it went. I want to say it went, yeah, this way, because we were looking at it. All right. So then we've got the plate. Wow. Well, that's pretty good. That's pretty good. Yep. Really only seems like the space bar needs. Now they are. That's the stabilizers are flat at the bottom. They don't have the feet. They are not lubed though, so we're gonna have to fix that. And that's something I can do, I think, fairly quick. And then we got the other two layers. No real reason to take the rest of it apart. We got the nice cutout for the DNA right there, and then we've got the studs where everything is screwing into. So why don't we just do a quick mod here, since we really only have to lube the stabilizers. I know I'm gonna get this. I'm getting the order wrong, but at least I recorded it so I can. Hey, let's go back and look at the tape. All right, so I need to get my dial, please. Take this right here. Do this first. This one requires a little bit more. Just do one at a time. This is gold. I'll make as tiny pieces as I can for here, because I like it not to interfere with the gold. The black and the gold is kind of one of the reasons I was attracted to this board in the first place. That's not gonna work. Thicker. Nope. I just made a mess. Alright, let's see. How about this piece? I'm going to stick to putting it underneath the board mostly. As long as we give it, you know, a little bit of more area to grip onto, the less chance it's going to rattle, and the better it's going to be. Because the stabilizer, hey, it's in the name. You got to be stable. Rattly stabilizer. You had one job. Oh, sorry, I was out of frame. Alright, so I need a little bit more of you. whatsoever. So take these out. There's some of that gray too. And pop them back in. Huh. It had slipped out somehow. There we go. Alright. These are actually some decent stabilizers. Sorry if I was out of frame there. I've seen better ones, but they're getting better. That's for sure. Companies are definitely paying attention to the consumers, and they're putting in better. Because I mean, I know there's some people that are like, hey, you know, and I'm not going to sit here and disagree. Yes, I'd prefer something screwed in than something clipped in. It's just common sense that something screwed in is going to be a lot more stable than something just clipped in. That said, I have dealt with plenty of decent clip-in stabilizers that get the job done. They deliver, I mean, as good of experience because they're so tight fit. They aren't screwed in, but there's really no place for them to move. So while they're not screwed in, they're still stable. And hey, that's, in the end, that's what we want, right? So I don't know. I'm not gonna get into that whole argument. Now I like to put a little bit of the grease that I use for the springs down into here. Basically, any pieces that are going to be having friction and touching against each other. So, and we'll go ahead and do this to all stabilizers because they came pretty naked, which I don't mind because I usually just clean it off anyway. So, this one looks ready to go. And this one's backwards, right? Alright. Oh, oh, oh. Bar underneath. I'll do that backwards, yep. That's right. Alright, I'm already seeing that I got a little bit too much. Let's cut a little bit off. This is going too far. Sorry, I keep trying to. Oh, and this plate, I mean, it's powder coated, but I would guess it's aluminum from how light it is. I don't think it's steel. It's pretty light. I bet if I read the descriptions I'd find out, but I guess sometimes I'm just more about the aesthetics. Alright, let's go ahead and try this again. Put the bar in. Let's not go all the way in. Alright, it's about being a little bit. There we go. Gotta get those clips on there. See, now what we've got here, these aren't going anywhere. Obviously, we want these to be as nice and smooth as possible, but these stabilizers we can now see are nice and attached. I mean, if I move it, I'm moving the whole plate. I mean, they're not moving. They are as stable as these are, which are pretty good. Like I said, these are slightly different style stabilizer, and I gotta say I like it. I like what they've done with these. I'm gonna cut this extra on the top off just so it doesn't bug me with the aesthetics of it. Pieces of white tape. If this would have been a situation, I probably should have just cut a band-aid because it would have been closer match. Alright, just taking off a bit of that extra. It's on the top, obviously. Keycaps will cover that, so. Alright, now let's go ahead and lube all the rest of the stabilizers. Alright, those are done. Nice and stable. Alright, so let's put this puppy back together, get some switches in here, and see what we got. Alright, so now comes the backwardness of all of this. Thinking I should go ahead and not gonna bother for right now. These are like a puzzle. They really truly are. I don't know why I like these. I guess the way they look. Putting them together and taking them apart can be a lot of fun, let me tell you. Alright, so. I think I got it right. Let's go ahead and start putting some screws back in. Let's see what we've got. Like I said, I like to do this just like I like to do switches on a PCB. Well, screw in a little bit. Let's go to another corner where the feet are. Jesus. I really don't get that. try to apply no pressure at all. Let the screw guide its own way into the threads, because these are brass and very, very soft. Crisscross in the center. Alright, last screw. So we're still loose here. And I'm going to do just what I was talking about. So I'm going to go ahead and decide what switches we're going to go with here. And I seem to have plenty of these, and I like them a lot because they don't match the color. But I don't really have anything that matches the color. A lot of the switches I've got are more of a clear. I got browns. I don't like the browns. They're not milkies. These have a window. Yeah. Why don't we put some gator on? What? Inky blacks in there. I forgot. Oh no, they don't have the window. Never mind. What am I thinking? Oh. No, I do have a mix. There's not enough. Yeah. That's not gonna work. What we got? We do have some jelly blacks. Actually, I think that might work. These are some, jelly blacks. I think those will do fine for this example. Alright. So what I'm going to do, so I'm just going to stick a couple of switches in the corner before I tighten anything down, because you can see stuff is still kind of in flex in here, so we want to make sure that we line this up as perfectly as possible. So we're going to be very careful. I would like to prefer to do this with a keyboard tester on, but I'm going to be very gentle here. Try to get at least one in each corner if I can. These aren't 5-pin, mind you. The 5 pins I have usually don't have the hole for the SMD, but this one does, thankfully. Like I said, this one actually has a very ample hole for the SMD. I just don't know why this doesn't want to focus anymore. I'm kind of very upset with this camera. It just doesn't. It's supposed to be very good, but I'm not liking it. Anyway, that's production issues I gotta take care of. So let me put another one in here. I'm using very little pressure. Obviously, I want to ensure I'm not damaging anything. And making sure these legs are nice and straight. Alright, let's put one in the center, just for luck. That's nice one, you can see. Now, obviously, I could have probably foamed that. At some point I may, but I'm still deciding if I'm going to keep the board, so let's continue. We're just going to do, it's almost stock. I just lubed the stabilizers, took it apart, put it back together. So we're going to end up doing a almost stock test. So now that we've got, I want to make sure that we've got everything lined up. Like I said, with these acrylic boards, they have a very good tendency for just one layer to just run another way. I try the sides are usually the easiest, but what I find works for me is once see, the top came off just so I try to align them as best as I can while they're still loose so that they feel straight with my fingers going down. Obviously the best thing to do would be align these corners right here. And I try to apply some pressure, not too much, but mainly on the edges, obviously, because this is hollow and it's going to press into the case. And then go back to the corners, cross corners, and go to where the screwdriver stops on its own. And I like to make sure it's not perfect, but it's pretty close to it. You can see down the line. So I think it'll do. Let's go ahead and tighten up the rest of the screws. Caddy corner again. Cross corner, caddy corner, whatever you want to call it. Alright, and then we got these two errant ones. Oh, I didn't even tighten that one. Alright, so now I'm just going to go over all the screws. I'm going to just give it that one little extra bit of torque to really just lock everything in place. I don't want to strip it. I just want to make sure it's in there all the way without, actually tearing through some acrylic. Now, we've got a pretty solid board. No more shakiness because guess what? Everything's been tightened up. Alright, so now that we've done that, why don't we borrow this USB cable over here? Oh, looks like it'll fit. Yeah, looks like it'll fit. Oh no, maybe it won't. I was wrong. My little sleeve actually makes it so it doesn't. Yay. But here's another one. This one looks like it should work. Alright. Well, let's plug you in and see what we've got. Ooh, pretty. Alright. So, we've got the board turned on. I'm going to go ahead and open up keyboard tester here. I just realized the camera was crooked as hell. Alright. Let's go ahead and get these switches in there. almost perfect. Not sure if it's reassemble, but all right. So there's that. In case you guys are curious as to the novelties that come with this set. I think it's cute. It's different. I haven't found a board to fit it yet until this one. I think this one's a perfect mix. It's kind of almost like an art piece. All right. So this is it. One thing we did forget to do. Let's go ahead and put these feet back on. Change some of these light modes real quick. So function escape for side light. I'll leave it on a gold for right now. Well, it looks greenish, but oh well. All right. LED effect, backlight effect, sequential mode selection, function, and home. Colors. Okay. All right. Be right back with a sound test, everybody.